Hello, hello, it's Barb Pask. Going to paint for you tonight. Going to paint a little 5x7. This is the panel that it is. I purchased these from Dick Blick. This little size, I think they ran me maybe $3.50 each. What I do like is this is the type panel that they are, and this is stamped right on the panel. Kind of a nice touch. Hardboard, canvas on hardboard. So, as I mentioned a couple times ago, I thought I'd do a batch of 5x7s, and because the little ones seem to sell better. So I've got some I have to put on my website now, but this little size sells for $55 and $5 shipping if you're in the U.S. So I'm using my view catcher. And if you're new to my channel, welcome. I'm an artist out of Ohio, full-time artist. I paint all subjects. I paint outside, plein air. I like to work from life the best. I paint with water mixable oils, and I use a limited palette, a warm and cool of blue, yellow, and red and white. And I do have transparent red oxide and Indian yellow on here in addition to that. I like to mix my color. I mix all my greens. And what I'm going to do, I may tone this tonight. Let's tone this. I haven't thought this out a whole lot. When you tone a panel, it's nice to leave some of that peeking back through, for one thing. It can give it a nice vibrancy. I'm using an orange. That's one thing I like about it. Plus, then when you go to paint over it too, it's not as difficult to cover it up. So I don't use a medium. So if I do decide to thin a little bit, I use water. Water works like a solvent with these. But just because there's water, I mean, they're still an oil. Paint like oils, dry like oils. They are oils. So I wouldn't have to do this, but, and I don't always. I never do anything the same over and over, I don't think. I like to try new things, and it's what makes it fun and exciting. I didn't show you what I was painting. I'll have to show you here. We're painting from life. So we're going to wipe this, and this gets a lot of that water that I put in there to thin it out. All right, let me show you what I'm painting. It's up a little bit higher than I would like. My daughter has this hydrangea tree in the front. I have a bush out in front of my house too, but I cut this pretty good sized bunch of hydrangeas a while back, and I've had them hanging upside down to dry. They're, as you can see, they lean toward, I believe they probably were white initially. They lean toward a yellow, kind of yellow ochre color now. I hung the pink ribbon on them, and I have the light clipped actually to the back of my easel here. I really like the shadow. That was important to me. I like even the shadow up in here. So I'm going to set up the composition, again using my view catcher. Get you back over here. And this is a view catcher if you're not seeing one. You adjust it for the size of your canvas, and you look through there and set up your composition, decide if you want it vertically, horizontally. So there are markings on here too for like an 8x10, 11x14. Some of them are on here 9x12, 12x16. But a 5x7 is not. So what I do is I just kind of eyeball it to what I think looks approximate. And I'm going to take a pencil this time and sketch this on. Again, I have to decide what's important to me. We'll have the ribbon coming down. It's going to end down in here someplace. I'm going to run the shadow off. And I'll cut the flowers off on this side too. it's not going to be a picky, precise sketch because I don't want a picky, precise painting. So just kind of get the general shape of it. And again, we'll run it off. And then our shadow is over here and down below here. And we get an interesting shadow shape mimicking the stems. So something like that. I think what we'll do is sometimes I mix what I call a mud, which is just a mixture of my 3 primaries. And I put a little bit of that into all my mixtures. So we already have this orange on here, which is obviously blue and yellow. I'm sorry, red and yellow. So let's throw a little blue in here. So this time, I've been doing it the last few times with a grade green. And that blue does pull this toward a green. So it's just a pile of a kind of muddy color. And what we're going to do is mix some of that into all of our mixtures. All right. So I think we'll lay those greens in first. I'll take some ultramarine and some Indian yellow, which makes a dark, transparent green. And we'll mix some of our mixture into that. And this is going to be darker than we need. So it's always better to start off darker, in my opinion, and keep white out of your mixtures. It's easier, I think, to come back and lighten it up, throw some brighter green over top of that. But don't put white in there. Keep it out of there as long as possible, because you can't come back from it hardly and get your darks where you want them to be. Nice thing about this green, I could push it further and make it more transparent if I wanted it to be. I'm going to want to make the flowers interesting, even though, again, they tend to be, again, kind of lean toward yellow ochre, but I want them to be interesting. Okay, so right now I'm just making a bit of a dark mixture out of transparent red oxide and ultramarine, and we'll throw some of our muddy color in there. And we're going to put the darks into the flowers where I see them. So I'm squinting and looking for them. Nothing's very dark. I need to gesso some panels so I can work a little bigger. I would have preferred to do this probably on an 8x10. And my plan is I want to be impressionistic with this, so we'll explain, some of these little, there are like 4 little petals in here, but I don't want to pick it to death. And so let's mix up something to mass it in. We'll take white, and we'll take some of our mixture. Okay, I want to pull it darker, so I'm putting some Indian yellow. And it's warmer, so we'll go for a transparent red oxide into that mixture. Now we're getting closer. All right, I think we're just going to kind of mass in the shape. Because I'm running it off and I want this shadow in here, I'm going to kind of start from this side and work my way back. That looks a little dark, but I do want to keep it on the dark side so we can lighten it later. going to get a little warmer. Sorry, that's shaking around. Get my hand on there. I don't know if you're a fan of Helen Van Wyck. She was a wonderful painter that used to be on had a PBS series, and she was very quick, and she would like tend to mass in the whole shape in kind of a general color, and then she'd come back with her lights and her darks, which is a little bit what I'm doing here. So it's kind of one way that's one way you can work. I'm just kind of looking at the outside shape of these. Turning into fall here in Ohio. It's getting, oh, so beautiful. I love fall. I got a birthday in a few days, and my sister brought me over an enormous purple mum plant today. I mean, enormous. It had a wrapper on it, and as we pulled the wrapper down, the plant just grew. It's like, it's really too big for the pot. Got a little pot and, you know, pot this big and a plant this big. So I'm probably going to cut it into mini pieces and plant it eventually. All right, so we got, you know, that's masked in. I think we'll just keep moving. I think we'll just get things blocked in here. So in the background, I've got just a white cloth behind it. And of course, the shadow is cooler. So we're just going to mix up a gray color of the three primaries. And I like to lay my shadow in first. And I don't clean my brush real thoroughly too often, which is fine. So you kind of pull color from one place to the other, which I don't mind. So let's go ahead and get this shadow in here. Stop. Whoop. Are you still? It dropped. We'll just bring you with it. Looking for where the shadow is. It comes down here underneath too. I like still lifes. I like, you know, setting up the things I like the way I want, and I play around with the light and try to get the light in the position to create good shadows and highlights, and not always successful, but okay. There's a few little shadows over in this area even. Okay, now we're going to go into our lighter mixture, and which I have gone toward a, it's more toward a purple than it is anything. We'll see how we like that as we go along. And I want to try to leave some of this tone color peeking through. So if you're an artist, what are you working on? Playing around and trying to vary the color a little bit. This is a little warmer. And we may play with the shadow shape a little more too. And our ribbon comes across and up. We'll want to put that in. Right about in there. Yeah, I didn't have everything thoroughly mixed, so as you can see, I picked up a more kind of concentrated purple right there. I was listening to a lady on a Zoom meeting for the Women's Art Club today talking, and interesting, just talking about she judging shows and things that judges look for, and how, in her opinion, a work has to read really strong from a distance. You know, if you can sit in the middle of the show and look around and pick out several paintings that just really from a distance really catch your eye, those are strong paintings. So for her, it's more about shapes and colors and interesting darks and light patches, more about shapes than the objects. One thing I haven't agreed with in the past is a Women's Art Club, and I guess I'm not on that side of it, but my opinion is if you get 100 pieces of work submitted, you choose the best of those 100. That's how I feel, period. And if the show ends up being, say, strong on watercolors, that's just the way it is, because that was the best of the work submitted. But I guess that they don't pick that way. They try to have a variety of mediums and subject matter, and I don't know, to make it more interesting. But the thing with doing that is good work gets rejected and bad work sometimes gets in, because they're looking for maybe mixed media pieces, or so I don't really agree with that, and it can be aggravating, especially if you get rejected and then you go see the show and there's work you know, work that shouldn't be in there, in my opinion. Again, not everybody agrees with me on that. All right, I'm mixing a bit of a lighter green, and I'm putting a little bit of our muddy mixture in that. And I'm going to lighten up some of these leaf shapes that are here. See, this is why you need your darks. You come in with these lighter colors and you've got those nice rich darks underneath there. I think it's important. All right, I'm cleaning the brush with water. I haven't done that up to now. We're probably going to lighten this shadow, but for now it's blocked in there. Can you see okay? Okay. All right, let's start looking at our blooms now. And we may get some palette knife in there, give it some, make it more three-dimensional. We probably will. This is see the warm color I have here. I'll let you compare it to what I've got over there. See, there are some lights in there and they're going to be important, but it's kind of a warm, muddy color, I guess. All right. So we're taking some of that muddy mixture that we made, and I'm going to lighten it up. I'm actually going to try to mix up a couple of different values. Something not as light and something lighter for the lightest part of them. You know, and it doesn't have to be exact. I mean, these hydrangeas, I'm sure they dry all different colors, you know. Just kind of scrubbing in and trying to keep it heavy. going in, try to lighten this and make it more attractive color too. If you found your way over from TikTok, let me know that too. I've been trying to get people to come over from there too. I can go live on there when I have 1,000 followers, so at some point I may do that. As you know, I'm not live on here, and I could be. I don't know, I like it this way, kind of, you know, talking to myself here, and it's quiet, and I'm happy to answer questions, but you know, it's not, no one's live with me here. So if you're on TikTok, find me over there. Like I say, at some point I may go live, and we'll see what the experience is like. I mean, hopefully people are kind. All right, into this mixture, which, you know, it's pretty close to what I got up there, but I want to get lighter, so I think I'm going to put some yellow into it and more white. You know, it doesn't have to be exactly what I see there. This is my version of it. So now I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll start with some palette knife. Get some really good texture going in here. That's my plan. We'll see. With flowers, I don't like to explain everything about them, every petal on every flower. Again, I'm an impressionist, and I find them more interesting if you mass in the whole shape of them and then you go back and explain some. Because your eye knows, and it's more interesting. Try and get some texture in there. That's not the lightest light. And then we'll go back with a lighter light. And hydrangeas have those 4 little petals, so you know, you want to explain that here and there so people know what they're looking at. make sure I like the shape of this. Would have been nice again to painted it bigger, and then I could have gotten the whole thing in, but because I'm cutting the flowers off over here, and maybe we'll do it again, and we'll do them bigger. I want to make this, we don't want it to be all one color, so I'm mixing in some kind of rustier tones. We'll see if we like that. That's kind of how the shadow looks, they're warmer. We could mix up like a really pure orange. Put some white in it. Now I'm going to squint really hard and see where I feel like I'm seeing more light hitting. Yeah, it's really pure, nice color. Just trying to, again, make it more interesting. I don't want them to be all the same color. And the pink ribbon, we'll just, I think we'll try a little alizarin crimson and white. You can make, I have the two reds, so of course you could use Cad Red Light and white, or you could use alizarin crimson. The Cad Red Light is my cooler red, and that's why I chose it. If you don't ever use a palette knife, you should try it. I mean, you don't have to do the whole painting with it, but it's really fun just for accents even, you know. Putting a few shapes in there that look a little more like stems, perhaps. All right, now I'm looking at this to make sure, see what changes we want to make. Kind of changing the shape of it. I want it to feel like what it is, you know, I want it to feel like hydrangeas. I want that shadow shape to kind of mimic, you know, my flowers with a little varied edge. Kind of lost them over in there. Paintbrushes are Rosemary and Company. I'm about due to order some new ones. I'm pretty hard on stuff. They're out of the UK. Very nice brushes. I would recommend them. These are the Evergreen series, which are softer. I've also used the Ivory, and I like those too. They're more like a bristle. Trying to see if I have these shadows dark enough. I put a little more yellow and white into this mixture. As you can see, though, I left a lot of that orange showing because I liked it. Again, I might have liked this better had I went larger, you know, bigger canvas, but know, sometimes I get that on and wipe it off because I just want it to be more precise. Yeah, and I might actually. That's the thing about signing it when it's gooey wet. Sometimes you just, let's just wipe that out. I think I can do a better job, and I want to. All right. Anything else we see? Let's see. I might want to pull it in a little bit where the ribbon comes around. All right. That was pretty quick, 42 minutes. Of course, it's small. I'll stand up and show you. Again, this is a 5x7. Please subscribe if you haven't, and comment. I love the comments. I'll leave the link to my website in the description box if you want to check out my website. All right, we'll get up and we'll show you what we've done. I enjoyed that. I hope you enjoyed watching. Let's get a little closer so you can see all the texture. See a lot of, some pretty heavy texture on there. And then there is our bouquet. Of course, I'm looking down below it, and we ran off the flowers that way, and we of course cut off a little bit of the shadow. So I try to make them more interesting. That's why I threw some of the oranges in, and I do try to paint what I see, but you know, you want it to be an attractive painting, an attractive color. So I hope you enjoyed watching, and watch for me next time. Hit that bell and they'll notify you when I upload a video. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it so much.